into the Friday Night Locker Room Show presented by Space Coast Daily, joined by Steve Wilson, Orville Susan. I'm your host, Zach Clark. Guys, you guys are heading down to South Beach for the Cocoa Tigers taking on Booker T. Washington. Break down this game for us, guys.
Well, this will not be the first time that Steve Wilson and I in the Friday Night Locker Room have traveled south with the Cocoa Tigers. 2 years ago, Cocoa Tigers and the Heritage Panthers. So we've spent a lot of time in that area. We've done 5 or 6 football games from Trask Powell Stadium, which is a huge stadium down there.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of the high schools around that area play. But we're excited to head back down that way again because that means a Brevard County team is still in the playoffs. And the Cocoa Tigers are the ones. And they beat Avon Park last Friday night at home, 51-8. That game was heard as the Friday Night Locker Room Game of the Week on 89.3 FM in North Brevard and 90.3 FM in South Brevard, and also on SpaceCoastDaily.com. So the Tigers win last week over Avon. They advanced to the state semifinals, where they will again travel to Miami to take on Booker T. Washington Tornadoes, who beat Glade Central last week 35-21. The Tigers hitting on all cylinders for the last 4 weeks, made short order of the Red Devils as they ran up over almost 550 yards just on the ground alone. The Tigers now have become regional champions for the 9th time in a row, but this week will not be easy due to the fact Booker T. Washington has eliminated the Tigers 1 game shy of the state championship the last 4 years. So big thing there for John and the Cocoa Tigers. All the heartbreak from the last 4 years will be forgotten next Friday night and early Saturday morning in Miami as the Tigers punch their ticket to Orlando with a win over Booker T. Washington. I'll take the Tigers.
Oh, he's got the Tigers. All right, Steve, what do you got?
The Tornadoes are going to be tough at home. They're a very good football team. Don't let their record fool you. They've lost 5 games this year. They lost to Miami Columbus, Miami Central, and St. Thomas Aquinas, 2 really good football teams, 3 really good football teams, and a couple of iffy teams, almost upsets at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
But they're hitting their stride. Their quarterback, Daniel Richardson, only a 9th grader. He struggled a little bit early during the season. He's had some medical issues, actually had a seizure mid-October. But he's come back healthy and strong. He's playing great football. They say he's going to be the next strong quarterback from South Florida, and the way he's played the last 2 months indicates that's probably so. Booker T. Washington, there's no secret, no surprise. They're going to throw the football. They only ran 16 times last week against Glade Central. That's what they don't do. They throw the football. The thing that concerns me a little bit is the one team that the Tigers faced this year that we knew was going to throw the football was the Viera Hawks. And they only beat Viera by 7. I think it was 49-42. So I think it's going to be a high-scoring football game. The Tigers, right now, they're doing it all. They're running the football. They can throw the football. 0 for 4 last week, but they didn't really have to pass the ball. But tough one to pick. It's a tough one to pick. But a couple of names I wanted to throw out at you that we don't talk a lot about on the Cocoa Tigers. With Bruce Judson running, Timmy Pratt, Howard Stewart, there's got to be somebody up front blocking for him. The offensive line, Josh Padrick, Zach Brasher, Nacia Gilmore, Brandon Niebauer, Jawan Taylor, and then Zach Armour at tight end. Those 6 individuals have created the holes all year long for Pratt, for Judson, and for Stewart. I think they will create enough holes for the Tigers to eke out a victory Friday night.
Ooh.
But it's going to be tough. I think it's going to be a high-scoring football game. As good as the Tigers' defense is, and they're so quick to the ball, they fly all over the ball, I think it's going to be reminiscent of the Viera game. I think it's going to be high-scoring. They really took it to Glades last week. Glades scored 14 points in the last quarter, so it wasn't nearly as close as the score indicated. But this is the game Cocoa's been looking for 12 months. You ask people in Cocoa, who do you want to play? Who did you want to play, Glades Central or Booker T. Washington? The players and the coaches all said the right thing. I don't care. We just want to be there. But everybody else said they wanted Booker T. Washington for payback time. And I think the Tigers are loaded just enough this year to go down south and win the football game. We'll find out because we'll be there bringing it back to you firsthand. But it's going to be a great high school atmosphere, tremendous crowd in South Florida on Friday night. But I like the Tigers in a close one.
I like the Tigers. Maybe an area they could probably expose is maybe that young quarterback, like you just mentioned, being a 9th grader. Maybe they can try to expose maybe that a little bit.
Yeah, the defense, we've talked a lot about Jacavius Henry, Beagle. Quinellis Phillips had a pick last week and recovered a fumble. They're so young, but they're so quick. We talked to Bruce Judson after the game last week, and he said these 9th and 10th graders are making junior and senior plays. And I think the Tigers can confuse them a little bit early. Coco's going to have to come out strong. They can't allow the Tornadoes to come out and do something early, let them get the crowd behind them, then all of a sudden you look at the scoreboard, you're down 20-0. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think the defense will allow that, but it has all the earmarks of just a great high school football game. Winner goes to the state final. That's as exciting as it gets.
And one of the things that Steve brought up on the defensive side, it's going to be tough. I think what happens here, Coco and the Tornadoes match up very well, size and speed, especially speed. I don't think the Tornadoes will see a football team on the defensive side with the speed that they've seen. It's tough, really tough to run wide on the Coco Tigers. And if they can put 3 down linemen and get the young quarterback a little, make him run a little bit, move around in the pocket and stuff, that's going to create havoc in the backfield, I think, and is a possibility. An interception here or a fumble here, and the Tigers got to win, and we're coming home happy.
Well, you guys should have fun down in South Beach. Get the Speedos ready. Get some sun. It should be an exciting one down in South Beach. This was the Friday Night Locker Room presented by Space Coast Daily.